Howdy folks, it's Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilly here, taking a look at the tropical update for June 19th of 2019. Things still reasonably calm in the tropics. Of course, this tropical update brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters. Thanks to them for helping us out. And they'll be doing so all summer long, which is terrific because we want to keep you guys updated on what's happening out there in the tropics. Of course, the peak of hurricane season, not until September 10th. We got plenty of time before we get there. We're all the way back here, just about June 20th. There's this little peak here, historically speaking, because generally we're still getting cold fronts that try and sneak through here every once in a while. And what ends up happening is they get cut off and into the Gulf of Mexico. And we have this little bullseye out here where sometimes they'll pass through the area, they'll get into the Gulf of Mexico, and then a little chunk of the end will kind of break off and may start spinning up. Or sometimes you get little pulses that sneak into the Gulf of Mexico and they finally get to a place where they've got a decent chance for development, and it happens to be kind of in the elbow of Florida because that's also where this time of the year, generally, the warmest water is. Now as we get into July, then we start to look a little further out and into the Caribbean. Speaking of the warm waters, now we're missing a couple of buoys in here because of some recent storms have either swept them away, not completely, they found the buoys, but moved them from where they were and they've lost contact with them, or they've pulled them out of the water or something like that. But mid-80s as we head off to the west, the 70s as you get off the east coast of Florida. That's not because the Gulf Stream hasn't gotten moving yet, it's always a-going. But they actually have some showers and thunderstorms out there and into the mid-80s with 6-foot seas out in the northern Caribbean. You can see all the thunderstorms off the east coast of Florida are finally starting to clear and push off to the east. We had that blowup of convection off the coast of Mississippi and Louisiana, and that continues to sag off to the southeast as well. The cool thing about it was it actually exploded right along a little boundary that was in here. Check that out. That's kind of cool. But since fallen apart, don't really have to worry about that. We'll look out into the open Atlantic, but it is still a little early to do so. We do have some thunderstorm activity just off of the Greater and Lesser Antilles, and then just off the coast of Africa. Yesterday we were watching a pretty robust wave drift off the coast, and it has turned into a whole lot of nothing. Looks like there's actually a fair amount of shear. You can see how the clouds kind of pull away and off to the north and northeast here. Fair amount of shear out there, probably eating that up. Also, water temperatures aren't quite warm enough. We got plenty of dry air in the mid-levels too. You see this little grayed out area that drifts all the way across the Atlantic and into the Gulf of Mexico. That's up at 700 millibars. That's our 700 millibar moisture area. When it's grayed out like that, we got plenty of dry air. And then we look down in the lower levels for some vorticity. That's a fancy weather term for spin. And that's where you see the greens and the yellows and the reds down here. And you'll see a lot of it on the northern coast of South America. That is absolutely normal this time of the year and isn't an indication that we have anything developing in the tropics. It's just a natural variability in the weather. You can see how it's flashing red down there every once in a while. I wouldn't worry too much about that. We got plenty of dry air into the Gulf of Mexico as we head through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Then we get a little reinforcing shot of some more dry air. Could be some African dust in there. Could set us up, you good photographers out there, for some decent sunsets as we head through the weekend and into next week. And then another shot of dry air starts to sneak this direction as we head through next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You'll notice we get bullseyed here with something in South Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama. That's not something tropically related within the model. That's actually a little system that dive bombs us from the north and kind of slides down to the south and may bring us some better chances for rain along the Gulf Coast as we look out into the tropics and see more dry air sneaking across the Atlantic. So all's clear on the southern and southeastern front as of right now. And there's your tropical update brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters for June 19th of 2019.